Hey everybody, welcome to tonight's stream. Today we are doing a short hop from Niagara Falls International Airport on the US side of the border in Niagara Falls, New York, up to Toronto. Basically it's kind of a repositioning flight. It's the next leg on our US tour, and it's the shortest leg of the tour. So we're going to be flying this Air Transat A320neo from here up to Toronto. It's a short flight. We're only going to get up to about 8,000 feet. Basically, we depart here, head straight into the entry point for the arrival in Toronto. It's live weather, so this is what the weather's actually like in the area. But I've rolled the time back to 3 p.m. Just so we're not doing this in the dark. So let's get on board, and we'll get ready to go. Alright, the ground crew turned on the power so that they can get the air moving, so it's warm in here. So we'll go through our checks, make sure everything is set up. So parking brake is set, chocks are removed, ground power unit is connected, throttles are at idle, engine masters are fuel cutoff, generator switches are on, external power is on. We'll get the adheres up and going. So they're aligning. And our panel lights, it's going to be sunset. We're going to be landing into the sun, so it should be, depending on the exact time we get there, it should be nice as we roll in. On final, get that nice sun going down. Turn the lights up a little bit on the McDo. Get you up. Get a notch of floodlight, and we'll get the overheads here up as well. So we'll get the nav lights are on, panel lights are done, landing gear lever is down, flaps are up, spoilers are retracted, fuel quantity is set. Seatbelt and those smoking signs are on, and we'll let them know we can start boarding. There we go. So we'll do a weather check down here on the system. Weather request, and we'll get it sent, and off it goes. So they'll be back in a minute with that. We can start our aircraft initialization. KIAG is Niagara Falls. That's our departure. CYYZ, our destination. Our alternate's going to be back here if we can't get into Toronto. Not anticipated that being a problem. And today's flight is Tango Sierra Charlie 03. Cost index of 25 and an altitude today of 8,000 feet. I'll initialize the IRS. That's good. Alright, let's go to page 2. Our zero fuel weight today is 58 tons. And our center of gravity is 30.53. And our block fuel today is fairly low, as you can see, 3.6. And our headwinds today, or our winds, are H22, our trip wind. And there's our fuel predictions all done. Alright, well, it looks like the catering truck's here. They're loading stuff in the back. I don't know why. It's a very short flight. Performance page. It's going to be a flaps 1 takeoff with a trim of 1.0, 128, 129, and 133 on the VR. Transition altitude 10,000. We're not going to get that high. So we're going to be departing here on a runway. How do they label it? 28 right? Yeah, 28 right is the big one. It's a direct out that we're going. Our arrival, we'll put it in now since we know what we're doing. It's the ILS for runway 24 left. And we are going on the Ling to arrival. There we go. And that is all set. We'll check our rad nav. It is entered in, and 101.95 is correct. So that is confirmed. So if we look at the route, and I don't have to go far, you can see the whole thing here. We're going to take off, come back around, pick up our entry point into the approach, and fly around and then land in Toronto. So, pretty simple one today. We're not going managed on the speed since we're going to be restricted down to 240 and 8,000 feet. And we should have the weather back now. Messages received. There's the weather. If we zoom in. So the winds are at 170 at 4 knots. It's fine. 3008 is the pressure. Toronto's 3006. Okay, the winds were showing a little bit different in the sim, which is funny because this is taking it off of the source for the sim, the company that provides the information, but it was different readings. But whatever, it's a light wind, it's not going to make much difference. So 3008 on the altimeter. And on the altimeter there. You can go back to there. And I think we're pretty well good. We'll get the APU up and going. We'll get the crew oxygen on. We'll make sure that there's enough heat in the back. And emergency exit lights are armed. There goes the APU kicking in. And I think, yep, baggage is done. Catering is done. We're just waiting for the passengers to get on board. The flight's about 15 minutes. Not long at all. We'll spend longer on the ground at either end than we will actually in the air. We'll be taking off over Niagara Falls. We may see it from the air as we go over. And then basically we make a right turn, cross Lake Ontario, and set up for the approach into Toronto. And I did manage to track down a Air Transat safety briefing, so hopefully that works. And we get to hear that as we push back. We do have a fair number of people getting on board today. It's 147 today, so fairly full flight. We can go take a look and see how they're doing getting on board. So there's a lot of people to come. The aircraft holds about 190, 188 or something like that. So we're a good 3/4 full, if not more. Is everybody getting on board? Who are you? Jared Brewer. Very hungry, somewhat thirsty. Well, you should have grabbed something in the terminal, Jared, because we haven't got time to serve anything on this flight. How about you? Thirsty? Thirsty? Well, again, they should have all realized a flight this length, you're not getting anything. So our estimated departure is in 21 minutes. See if maybe we can get them to speed things up a little bit.
We'll see what we can do. No promises.
So this is, again, this flight is part of our trip around America. If you remember, we started in Boston and flew down to New York, and then it was New York to here in Niagara. Now we go from here up to Toronto today. The next leg of the flight takes us, I believe it's Toronto to Chicago, and that will be an Air Canada flight. And then we work our way around. We'll be heading out through the northern U.S., and then down through the Pacific coast, and then back across the southern U.S., and then up the eastern seaboard. So should be an interesting trip. Again, I'm running the A320nx mod. So this is not the latest developers one, but it is recent. It's within the last week. I'll probably grab the next one tomorrow. But the airplane's getting better. The VNAV issue is still there as we're trying to sort that out. But it's not bad. I'm pretty good at guesstimating where we got to start our descent now, so everything works out there. The good news is it's looking more and more likely that Aerosoft will be releasing the CRJ series aircraft before the end of the year, hopefully before Christmas, so within the next couple weeks. It looks like they're going to release the, I think the 550 and the 700 first, and then the 900 and I think the 1000 will come out in the new year. So very interesting. In the virtual airline I fly for, that airplane, something I forgot to do. Let me just do this and get my recording going for the flight. The airplane's used a lot flying around Europe, so going to be spending a lot of time there. And starting in probably in the new year, maybe sooner, I'm going to start doing flights on Aveo, which is the live human air traffic control. So don't have to worry about this stupid AI ATC anymore. It'll be actual people when they're online. And Aveo is a European-based one, so Europe's on a lot of radar coverage and controller coverage. So probably be doing a bunch of European flights over there. And I'll try to keep up once a week streaming on flights in other places around the world, so we get some variety, such as this trip around America that we're doing. It's our kind of our weekly North American U.S. flight. The Air Transat livery is courtesy of the Air Mega Liveries Mega Pack. It's one of the many liveries you can get in there, so that is good. And there's a bunch of other mods I'm running as well. Things like the ground cart here have actual real names, like the Sky Chef catering truck and Swiss Port ground services and stuff like that, especially in Europe, and stuff over there. So it's all there's a bunch of little mods that are running to make things a little bit more realistic. And while we're doing that, let's let the ground crew know we'll be ready shortly.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight tech.
We will be ready shortly.
Okay, I will hold.
Alright, so we'll be getting ready to go shortly. So when we do push back, we're going to push the tail to the right when you're facing the back of the airplane, so our nose will swing to the left, so we'll be pointing kind of the way we're facing right now. And it's a fairly short taxi up to the runway. And we'll be good to go. And like I said, we are... It's about 3:15 game time. So the sun is going down. It'll be dark within the hour. You can see how there she is there. Setting away there. So we may get a decent sunset as we fly into Toronto. So we have a Air Canada A320 sitting beside us here. Let's reposition the camera here a little bit. There we go. All right. Oh, it's looking a little fuller in the back. They're still coming on board. A couple of flights I did in the 787, when you're loading 280, 300 people, oh, they take a while. So it is set to a realistic load time. So it will take approximately how long it would take to load everybody on board in real life. The other two options PAX has is a instant board and a shortened one. But she's unrealistic right now. Who's this? Anthony Goodman, somewhat hungry, somewhat thirsty, somewhat tired. It's only 3:20 in the afternoon, fella. We should be getting close. Alright, well, we're pretty much ready to go as soon as everyone's on board. Let's see what the temperature in the cabin is, if it's nice and warm yet. Where's the cabin? There we are. 26 degrees in the front of the cabin, 25 in the back. I wonder if... I don't think these actually do anything, but I'm going to turn them down a little bit. 26 is kind of warm. Probably going to stay there. Not a fan of... overly warm cockpit or cabins on airplanes. Tend to make you drowsy and dry you out a little bit more. Some airlines do it a bit more than others. They just crank the heat up. So we're not bad schedule-wise. It's always nice to get out here a little bit early, though. All right, that's we're not 1,200. We'll go 2,000 there.
We're ready to go when you are.
Ah, very good. So everyone's now loaded in the back. Signed off the manifest. We'll shut the cockpit door, turn on the overhead beacon, fire up the APU bleed, and come off on the external power. Let's make sure they're taking the jetway away. There she goes. All right. Let's get out of here.
Good
Cockpit to
afternoon,
ground.
ladies and
Go ahead,
gentlemen,
flight
and
tech.
welcome
We are
aboard
ready for
flight
pushback and engine
03
start.
with service
Roger.
to
Release the
Toronto.
parking
Our
brakes,
flight
please.
time will be roughly 16 minutes. Now that the cabin door is closed, please make sure that
Parking
all
brakes
devices
released.
are in airplane
Pushing back.
mode and your large devices are now shut down and stowed. Please fasten your seatbelt and make sure that all tray tables and seat backs are in a full upright and locked position for departure. Cabin crew, prepare cabin for departure.
So it's going to be a bit of a push. We're on a bit of an angle. And the taxiway is all the way over there. There we go.
You are clear behind, and you can start your engines at your discretion.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the screen for an important safety demonstration. Thank you for flying with us.
Bienvenue à bord et merci d'avoir choisi Air Transat.
Welcome aboard, and thank you for choosing Air Transat.
Avant de pouvoir céder au plaisir des activités en vol, abordons ensemble les règles de sécurité de l'appareil.
Before we can all enjoy the wonders of in-flight activities, let's review the safety features of this aircraft.
Portez votre ceinture lorsque vous êtes assis. Pour la boucler, insérez l'extrémité plate dans la boucle et tirez sur la sangle pour serrer.
Wear your seatbelt whenever you're seated. To fasten it, insert the flat end into the buckle, then
May
pull
be
the
a
strap
little
to
loud,
tighten.
I'm not
To
sure.
release, lift the top of the buckle.
Pour détacher, tirez sur la partie supérieure de la boucle. Quand la consigne s'illumine, retournez à votre siège et bouclez votre ceinture.
When the seatbelt sign comes on, go back to your seat and fasten your seatbelt.
Rangez votre sac sous le siège devant vous.
Your bag should be stored under the seat in front of you.
S'il est trop gros, rangez-le dans le porte-bagages supérieur, mais sans le surcharger.
If it's too big, put it in the overhead bin. But please, don't overload it.
Avant le décollage et l'atterrissage, veuillez relever votre tablette et redresser votre siège.
During takeoff and landing, make sure your tray table is stowed and your seat is up. All the way up.
Éteignez et rangez vos appareils électroniques. Vous pourrez les utiliser en vol, mais en mode avion seulement.
Turn off and put away all electronic devices. You can use them in flight, but in airplane mode only.
S'il vous plaît, observez les instructions de l'équipage et la signalétique.
Please observe all crew instructions and
Parking
signs.
brake set.
Roger.
Fumer
Okay, the
est
tow bar
interdit
is
sous toutes ses
disconnected,
formes.
and
Smoking
you
of
are
any
clear.
kind is
We will
forbidden.
see you on the
No
right-hand
smoking.
side with
We
the
mean
bin.
it.
Thanks. You
Nous
can disconnect
insistons,
and go to hand
fumer
signals.
est interdit.
Thanks. Have a good flight. See you
Lisez
later.
la carte des mesures de sécurité de l'appareil se trouvant dans la pochette du fauteuil devant vous.
Read the safety card located in the seat pocket in front of you.
Les issues de secours sont clairement indiquées. Repérez la plus proche, elle peut être derrière vous.
Emergency exits are clearly marked. Locate the nearest one. It might be behind you.
En cas de panne d'électricité, l'allée sera éclairée.
If the power goes out, lights will guide you down the aisle.
En cas d'atterrissage d'urgence, prenez la posture de sécurité.
In case of an emergency landing, adopt a brace position.
Si un masque à oxygène tombe du panneau au-dessus de vous, tirez-le vers vous. Mettez-le sur votre nez et votre bouche.
If an oxygen mask drops from the panel above you, pull it towards you and place it over your nose and mouth.
Resserrez-le en tirant sur la bande élastique et respirez normalement.
Secure it with the elastic band and breathe normally.
Si le sac n'est pas gonflé, l'oxygène circule quand même. Mettez votre propre masque avant d'aider les autres.
The bag may not inflate, but oxygen is flowing. Secure your own mask before helping others.
En cas d'amérissage, tirez sur la languette rouge en dessous ou à côté de votre siège pour trouver un gilet de sauvetage.
In the event of a water evacuation, pull the red tag that's either under or beside your seat to access a life jacket.
Déchirez la pochette, enfilez le gilet par la tête.
Rip the pouch open and slip the life jacket over your head.
Mettez la ceinture autour de votre taille et serrez-la.
Place the belt around your waist and pull tight.
Gonflez le gilet en tirant sur la languette rouge.
To inflate, pull the red tab down.
Soufflez dans le tube rouge pour gonfler.
Blow in the red tube to inflate.
Le gilet de sauvetage est muni d'une lampe repère. Gonflez le gilet seulement en quittant l'appareil.
A locator light is visible on the life jacket. Only inflate your jacket right before exiting the aircraft. Questions? It'll be our pleasure to answer at any time. On behalf of the crew and everyone at Air Transat, we wish you a pleasant flight.
Question? Nous nous ferons un plaisir d'y répondre. De la part de l'équipage et de tout le monde chez Air Transat, nous vous souhaitons un agréable vol.
That may have been a little loud. It was for me. Wow. Well, I'll go back and check check how that sounded. I may have to remaster that and turn it down. Unfortunately, there's like no volume switch, so for that anyway. Alright, well, we don't have a long taxi, so let's get them seated.
Camera crew seats for takeoff, please.
You can see the sun is going down. It's getting dark out here. Starting to lose the light. Again, we're going up to the end here with the main runway. And as mentioned, I think when we flew in here, this is primarily a military airfield. U.S. Air Force Reserve, New York Air National Guard, New York Army National Guard, and then there's a small civilian terminal where we just left. So I won't be doing too much talking once we get going. There's going to be a lot happening kind of quickly, so we're going to have to be on top of it. Make sure we're ready to go. There's the runway there. So we'll pause, do our pre-takeoff checks, or before takeoff checklist. Alright. So strobes to auto, landing lights are on, taxi light to takeoff, transponder is on, PWS is on, weather radar is on, doors locked. Flaps are set, everything is checked. We can move out now. Still using the keyboard for throttle and stuff. It'd be nice if my throttle quadrant showed up by Christmas. It'd be a nice bonus, but I know the Yoke showed up early, but they're still forecasted for late January, early February as a delivery for the quadrants. We'll see. Maybe it'll be a nice surprise for us. Alright, let's get ourselves turned here and lined up. Okay. Engines to 40%. Stable. 5-degree nose down and rolling. Going under nuts. V1. Rotate. Degree. Positive rating, gear up. Spoilers down. Flaps going up. And throttle to climb. There's the power dams. I think we're flying right over top of Niagara Falls. See if I can see that. There it is. American Falls, Horseshoe Falls, Peace Bridge, downtown Niagara. So we're aiming for our 8,000 feet. Come on, give me my, there we go, my airplane back. So we'll put the autopilot on. That'll take us over here to Ling, which is our entry point into the approach. So we're going to have to do all our approach stuff. So we'll go over here. So 3006. Temperature is 4 degrees. Winds, we'll just call 270 at 4. Transition altitude 18,000 and 200 foot decision height. That's the Welland Canal. It's the only way shipping gets between Lake Ontario and Lake Erie. I don't know why I'm going down. Should be at 8,000 feet. So this is the entry point for a couple different approaches, and then fly basically up to the shoreline, then across Toronto to the east end and around, and then come in for a landing. There's the falls right there, American Falls, Horseshoe Falls, St. Catharines Airport, the Welland Canal. It's the US, and this is Canada. Alright, so we're going into approach mode now. So we're not quite doing the proper approach. This is Microsoft doing its own thing again. It's got us turning here. Normally we would head right out to the city, which is actually what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go into heading mode. And we're actually going to fly the published approach. So I'm going to want 345 degrees. There's Toronto over there. See the islands and the harbor. Landing lights and everything will stay on. Seat belts will stay on. Aircraft there in front of us. Yeah, we may see the CN Tower. Billy Bishop Airport, we'll see the Sky Dome. A lot of the downtown buildings we should see. They are modeled. Not very well in the default scenery, but they are modeled. So our final intercept altitude is 3,000 feet, okay? So I'll bear that in mind. So we'll throw the landing system on. Oop. Everything else is good. There's Oakville, Mississauga. Mississauga over here. And that's the airport's right there, actually. I can see aircraft's lights there for some reason. All right. Speed's coming back. There's the bridge, Skyway Bridge down by Hamilton. Burlington to Hamilton. Some nice cloud. Little bit of the color on the water as the sun's setting. So the sun's still going to be fairly high, but we're starting to get a little bit of golden light out there. And there's the lake. Alright, we're 3 miles from our turn point. 057 degrees is the heading we're going to want. And then we're going to slowly descend down to 3,000 feet. And if you live in the Toronto area, this is a very familiar sight, this approach. See airplanes doing this all the time. Alright, It's good enough. 057, and we'll start the descent. $800 a minute. We'll go 500.
Assist with customs at our destination. Flight attendants will begin handing out forms momentarily. Please review and complete these forms and keep them with you for presentation upon arrival.
There we go, and there's Toronto. So you can see the harbor and the islands. There's Toronto Island Airport, Bishop Airport, and there's the city of Toronto. You see the Sky Dome, CN Towers right there. The dockyards. Toronto is a port city. There's your business area all here. And you can see the tower and the Sky Dome a little bit better now. It's there. It's not very well modeled, but it's there. The airport here is one of the handcrafted airports that Microsoft did. So it looks pretty good. And there's the city. The old rail yard turn house right there. It's now a brewery. City Hall just going by here. All right. To pick up the pace on the descent a little bit. So seatbelts are on, radios are set, speed is down to 210 knots, landing lights are on, taxi lights are on, ground spoilers are armed. Auto brake is set. And flaps one. See another airplane over by the airport there. Another one up here. So up here you have, I believe that's Buttonville Airport. Yep, that's Buttonville Airport up there. It's the rail yards at the top of north of the 401. That's the Scarborough Town Center in that area over there. I know my mouse isn't pointing at the same place I'm seeing it on my screen, and I apologize for that. As a reference, here's where the 401 comes down and meets up with Old Kingston Road down here at the border of Pickering. No, that should be 3,000 feet. Not 2,000. Now we should be slowing down to 180 knots. There we go. So we're going to begin our left turn to 280 for the intercept of the ILS. We're 21, is that 24? 24 miles out from the airport now. Further than they would usually go to do this turnaround, but I'm giving ourselves some room here. Alright, so we look at this line, which is the line to the runway, out, and we draw an extended center line, kind of out. When we get about 2 miles out, we're going to go and activate our approach mode, and that will pick up the localizer, and eventually we'll get the glide slope. That will just bring us in nice and neatly. So we're coming back towards Toronto. This time we're going to be up over the north end. May get a little choppy frame rate wise, happens with all big cities, although we have already flown over it, so I'm not anticipating too big of a problem. There's the Toronto Harbor. Alright, that's 2.5 miles to that center line, so we'll go in approach mode. Now, I've had it do this to me before, where it's decided to do some weird turnings. So we're going to turn that off for a moment, and we'll wait till we get closer. It might be a distance thing, I don't know. It's the joys of the sim at the moment. I mean, And it's picking up the proper one, 111.95 IDP is identified. Alright, I'll come back to it and then we'll do it when we get a little bit closer. .237 is the actual heading of it, so we'll take that. I'll try it again when we get to about 10 miles. There's that blinding sun. Hence the pilot sunglasses. So there's 11.5 miles. That's Downsview Airport. It's 401. You can see the tower there up against the water. All right, 10.5 miles. Let's try this again. That's better. She's not freaking out this time. A little bit of low cloud. There's Downsview. All right, let's go flaps 2. Pearson's right up here ahead of us. All right. And main gear down. Speed brake up, everything is set. Get the cabin crew seated. Flaps 2. Flaps 3. Fully configured for landing. No blue. Gear down 3 green. Autopilot says required. Go around altitude is set. Auto thrust as required. Landing memo no blue. Landing speed is managed. And I have the runway in sight. A couple of airplanes out and about. See a couple more just lit up on the runway. Looks like we got one off to the right and one off to the left in the air. Say that guy there is landing on 3-3. We should get in right behind him on 2-4. my airplane. Get ourselves lined up again. Whoa, don't do that. Stop. I'm leaning on a key. There we go. Nicely lined up again.
Minimum.
Landing. Speed's down to 60 knots. Welcome to Toronto. Cross runway 24 right.
Toronto. The local time is 3:58 p.m. and it's currently about 4 degrees Celsius. You can now use your mobile devices. Please remain seated until the aircraft has come to a complete stop and the seatbelt sign is turned off. Remember to use caution when opening the overhead bins as items may have shifted during the flight.
Aha!
If this is your final destination, we thank you for flying with us and we hope to see you again soon.
Okay. Watch where you're going. Oh, to have two-man crews in the cockpit. All right. Well, we're going to head over to Terminal 3. What's the outside air temperature? 4 degrees. A little bit of AI traffic here. So we're going to go over here to taxiway Alpha. We'll take Alpha up to Terminal 3. There's the APU kicking in. Another airplane coming in. You can see him on the TCAS here. You see his lights there. So this is Bravo, and we want Alpha. So these are parallel taxiways that would have aircraft going in one direction on them when they're feeding in and out when it's busy. You can see who's here, airplane-wise. At Fly UK, that's my virtual airline. That's 787. It's another Fly UK over there. Generic JetBlue. United. Delta. I had a few aircraft around. This is Terminal 1, home of Air Canada. And Star Alliance. Everyone else is out of Terminal 3. Terminal 1, of course, is the newer airport. So much nicer than Terminal 3. we're going to go in here at Alpha Kilo and onto the apron. We're going to park over there by that United aircraft. Maybe if there's a spot open. We'll see as we go around the terminal. So the neat, he's parked in a very weird way. The neat thing about Iveo is there's Spirit, is WestJet, is, you should be over at Terminal 3 actually, is all the airplanes you see are actually other real players. And there can be up to 600, 700, 800 other aircraft flying around the world, which is pretty awesome. So I'm all set up for it. I've just got to sit down and go through the stuff and get some flights done on that, which of course I'll record. And then once I'm a little bit comfortable with the process, I can start live streaming those as well. I think this guy had an accident here. Alright, any jetways open down here? Yes, there are. Now this is the default airport, procedurally generated off of the maps and stuff. I'm waiting for somebody to come out with a nice third-party airport for here. Alright, so that should be up and running, so we'll get the APU bleed going. I'm going to go over to this gate right here. Down to see the nose wheel a little bit better. Should be about there. Yeah, it's good enough. Have to set up a better view for that at some point. So parking brake will go on. We'll get the jetway coming over and connecting. There she comes. Alright, what do we got here? We have ground power, so ground power can come on and we can shut down the engines. Beacon will come off. Strobes are off. Taxi light will come off. APU can come off. Not that you waited for me to shut the signs off. I can hear you up moving around. And that is that. Well, it was a short flight, but welcome to Toronto. Hope you enjoyed. We will see you next time for our next flight. Bye for now.